This is where you should be listening.
As a U.S. citizen, we are given many legal rights when we turn the age of 18. We're allowed to vote, get married, and go to war, yet we are still unable to have an alcoholic beverage. Though the government may believe that by keeping the drinking age at 21, they are protecting young adults from the potential harm of alcohol, they are only keeping the drinking scene underground. I'm here today to tell you that lowering the drinking age in America would be beneficial to today's society. There are a few main ways in which lowering it would be beneficial. It would help prevent against injuries and fatalities caused by drinking. It would help make young adults more responsible drinkers, and it could also help colleges cope with the drinking that occurs in schools. According to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, there are currently about 10.8 million underage drinkers in the U.S. And these underage drinkers are at greater risk of being involved in injury or fatality caused by alcohol. This is mostly due to the fact that drinking goes on behind closed doors. There are multiple ways in which lowering it to 18 could help lessen the fatality rate, mainly because people wouldn't have to drink privately or unsupervised, and instead they would be allowed to go to bars and restaurants where they could buy alcohol. As the Boston University president Robert Brown stated, when drinking at a bar, the server or bartender is capable of cutting you off when they feel that a customer has become too inebriated. On the other hand, at these house parties, there's no one there to count your drinks and cut you off when they realize that you've exceeded your tolerance. A survey from the NIAA also shows that of college students over the age of 21, 64% say that they tend to drink more at parties than they do at bars. This shows that drinking in an environment where somebody is there to regulate lowers the risk of drinking to the point of hospitalization or fatality. Also, a major factor that leads to fatality from alcohol poisoning is that the person was not given proper help in time because the people they were with were fearful of punishment from authority. If it were lowered, however, people wouldn't be scared to call for help if it was ever needed. My next point is that a lower drinking age could help young adults become more responsible with their drinking. The National Youth Rights Association announced that they believe alcohol must be introduced gradually and at younger ages as they do in Europe. They stated that young people must be allowed to get their feet wet through the introduction of alcohol in small amounts and in safe environments like the home. Some might ask, well, why don't parents just teach their kids to drink responsibly at home where it is legal for them to drink with their parents' consent? A research psychologist, Judith Barnoff, answers this when she says that the parents can have a great impact on their child's drinking habits. She goes on to say that parents should teach their kids about the responsibilities that come with drinking, but most feel that by doing this at a younger age than 21 would be promoting the use of underage drinking. By lowering the drinking age, though, parents would feel more comfortable with teaching their kids to drink responsibly and wouldn't feel that they're being a bad influence to their kids. Another point that Barnoff makes is that kids find drinking so appealing because it is looked at as the forbidden fruit. Since this is one of the responsibilities that we do not receive when we turn 18, we do not feel the need to take on its responsibility. Barnoff says, when given a responsibility, one feels more inclined to act on it properly. Drinking needs to be one of those responsibilities so that younger adults will take it more seriously. Lastly, we can look at how a lower drinking age would better help universities cope with drinking that occurs on and off campus. Universities know that underage drinking happens, but since it is not permitted, they keep hush-hush about it and are not allowed to regulate it when it goes on, like in the dorm rooms or parties. Chad Harris, a professor at Michigan State University, said, what often happens is that students will pregame before attending events like football games or concerts, because the students feel that since they will not be able to drink publicly, they must load up before going out, which often causes alcohol poisoning, or they can get injured when they go out. If colleges didn't have these policies against alcohol, then the schools wouldn't have to deal with students showing up already like belligerently drunk and getting into more trouble. This would also mean that the drinking would be supervised because they would have to buy it too. Another way in which colleges would be able to help regulate and promote safer drinking is through on-campus bars. Boston University's President Robert Brown stated, "If our students under the age of 21 had access to the bars, we would be able to regulate how much they drink and how they would be more hesitant to buy too much alcohol because they must pay for every single drink." On top of that, some of the money that students spend at liquor stores would instead go to the universities. In terms, this would be a win-win situation. Schools would be able to better regulate and promote healthier drinking habits while making money that would go towards the school. Overall, we can see that there are many benefiting factors that would come from lowering the drinking age to 18. Some feel strongly that this would lead to more young adults developing drinking habits, but the fact is that this sort of drinking occurs anyways between the ages of 18 and 21. By putting a light on it and making it legal, these problems would be better addressed and would allow for safer drinking habits and environments.
All right, the claim is clearly stated. It's a claim of fact. There's a good preview of what the secondary issues are. Internal labeling is also clear, so structurally everything is fine. On the individual points, I think you're dependent on hypothetical examples on a couple of the points. You do have some authorities that you're citing, but most of the authorities are also giving hypothetical examples. They frequently present a theory without any documentation that there's reason to believe that theory, and I think that you need a little bit more proof on some of those points. I'll give you an easy, for instance, the notion that people pre-game drinking, and they do that sort of thing, and that they have to do that because they're afraid they're going to be prevented from drinking in public. Anybody who's been to game day knows that pre-game drinking before the game, at the game, after the game. The idea that people are going to stop drinking because it's legal or it's legal. I need something that says that that's likely to be true, an example, an illustration, some study, some research, because I can't imagine that all those drunks that I see are going to stop drinking because, I had enough at home. All right. Looks a little awkward when you're giving the speech and your hands are in the pockets the whole time. I know it's a little cold tonight, though. All right.